Hey, you, why haven't you subscribed yet? Hit the subscribe button and the bell. Enjoy the video. And Ed Orgeron, Tuesday morning, his weekly visit with Jordy Culotta and T-Bob Hebert, was asked how he's handling this and how you can't really ignore it, right? All the reports that are going on and how he's handling that right now with his team.
First of all, you got to address it and know it's out there. And but as far as the SEC, as far as I know, we're still gathering information. We're still fighting to play. We want to play. We've always spoke like we wanted to play. And I believe in our commissioner. I believe in our athletic director. I believe in our presidents. And that I know that we're going to do the right thing for our players, safety first. But I do believe with Dr. Katie O'Neill, with Shelley, with Jack, we have the best care for our players that they can get anywhere. Our players feel safe. I know that our players and most of the players around the country want to play. But I do believe that we need to continue and let the process take its place, continue on, and then make a proper decision when time comes.
The other thing that Orgeron also mentioned with respect to this, as far as when time comes, he did talk about that timeline.
You know, the easiest thing to do right now is say no. All right, but we want to compete for our players and find out what's best for them. Now, at the end, if our players can't play, I'm for one that's not going to put them in harm's way, and they know that. So we're going to find out the best thing that we can do for our players, and obviously we're going to listen to our presidents and our commissioners, and I have 100% confidence that they're going to make the right decision.
And that's something that you'll continue to hear from players' families as well and the players themselves. You know, Ed Orgeron talked about, for example, Neil Farrell opting out. He's the one LSU player who's decided not to play. This was Coach O this morning telling the story about how that conversation with Neil went.
Neil's grandma got sick, and he was very close to his grandmother, and he wanted to go back home and be with her. And you know what I told him? I said, Neil, go home. We told you we're going to do that. Come back next year. Come back in great shape and have a great senior year. He said, okay, Coach, thank you.
I mean, actions speak louder than words. That's exactly acting the way you would expect a head coach who's saying all the things that Orgeron is saying to act. When one of his players comes and says, Coach, I'm concerned about this, you say unequivocally, go be with your family. Come back next year. You retain your eligibility. You'll still be on scholarship. All that stuff. 100% support of the student athletes because there are bigger things at play right now. And I think Ed Orgeron recognizes that, as do most every coach in college football. One more from Coach O with respect to this, then we'll get to some of the on-field stuff. He lobbied for and continued to describe what I think many people have, many head coaches have, that Jim Harbaugh did yesterday, that Scott Frost did, that Dabo Swinney has, that so many coaches have, which is that players are safer on campus.
And I do believe that Shelley and Jack and Scott Woodward have put us in the best position. Our players feel safe. Yes, players catch the COVID, but we'll test, and as soon as they do, we'll put them. We'll give them the best care that they can. Most of our guys that caught COVID were asymptomatic. They came back. We put them in proper quarantine, 9 to 10 days, whatever that may be. And our team seems like we're in good shape for now. I do believe we have very few guys that have it, and our guys are practicing very well with a great mindset.
Ed Orgeron again this morning with Jordy and T-Bob. That was talking about how all of this, how he's handling all of the ancillary stuff, right? All of the exterior things, how he's handling his schedule and talking to his players as everything pertains to COVID. The thing to remember is right now, they're still in their football school mode, those allowed practices by the NCAA where they can have their sort of glorified walkthroughs to be on the field as a sort of compensatory measure to make up for losing spring football as sort of the ramp up toward fall camp, if you really want to call it fall camp. So Ed Orgeron kind of described what these walkthrough practices have been like.
Well, we have an emphasis of the day. We walk through it. Our guys are going through position drills, getting them better, ongoing skill development. We filming everything. We grading everything just like it was a real practice. The energy level was very high. I'll say this to you. Saturday morning, we had one of the best practices we've had during all of football school.
Wow. Well,
And it goes to show you the mindset of our football team. And I walked off the field and felt like if it was Wednesday, we'd be prepared to play anybody in the country.
Ed Orgeron, that's a bold statement right there. You're talking about in August, early August, saying that your walkthrough practices have been so sharp that you'd be prepared to play anybody in the country. But it does speak to something that whenever these practices were announced, we had this conversation. One of the things that Ed Orgeron did as soon as he became head coach was on Mondays, he instituted Tell the Truth Monday. And Tell the Truth Monday is a practice where they have helmets, no shoulder pads, no pads at all. And it's just a very quick, sharp, precise, hour-long practice. The whole idea is just to stay sharp, but to make sure guys maintain their legs. You're not out there on Monday after a Saturday game in full pads. And because this program, since 2016, when Ed took over the beginning of October of 2016, you're talking almost 4 calendar years now that they have learned how to maximize that style of practice, those walkthrough practices. And that's what they're doing here. So it's no surprise to me that they are fresh and energetic and locked in because they know how to maximize that time. A couple of other things that Ed Orgeron said. He was asked about Jarell Cherry, who's physically a monster, but he said he's playing on the outside but can kick in on pass rush down. So he could play first and second down on the outside, kick in if they want, a full pass rusher, like some people call it the NASCAR package, right? Wherever you want to get all your pass rushers on the field, potentially Cherry could be a guy who kicks in there. Said Mo Hampton, as far as safety, could be a starter this year vying for that role. He also talked about Todd Harris, Todd Harris tore his ACL last year. As we know, he was a starter and then tore his ACL, but is coming back off that injury now. Here was Ed Orgeron updating Todd Harris' status.
He's doing well. He cannot go through everything. As you know, those knees, they swell up a little bit, get a little swelling in them. So we need to take it easy on him. But as far as conditioning and work hard, he's done well. But we're watching him. He's not able to do everything right now. But if we feel that the season starts, he'll be 100%.
Maybe there's validity to this, maybe not. You're talking about an injury that happened last September. But still, one of the things that could potentially benefit Todd Harris is, if you think about it right now, LSU would already be, traditionally, they would already be in fall camp. Fall camp would have started on August the 7th. So they'd be 4 days into fall camp right now. And September 5th start date, you'd be 3 weeks from your opener. Because the season is scheduled to start September 26th, you basically gave Todd Harris an additional 3 weeks to get himself physically ready and 3 more weeks of rest and rehab on that knee to gear up for what's going to be a shortened season, but one where you got to hit the ground running because it's 10 conference games. And one more from Ed Orgeron, his visit with Off the Bench. Talked about Tyler Shelvin, who, as we know, we've kind of been keeping an eye on Tyler Shelvin's weight, as Ed Orgeron sort of updated that throughout the offseason. But also, we learned that there's some academic things that Tyler's taking care of right now as well.
Big T's doing good. Big T is practicing well. He's doing well. He still has some academic work to do. Derek Panamsky has done a tremendous job with him, staying with him all summer. He is in an intercession course right now. We're going to finish it, and I do believe everything's going to work out fine. But his attitude has been phenomenal.
Tyler Shelvin, of course, is one of those guys that is a projected first-round draft pick, and if there is no fall season and everything is moved to the spring, Shelvin would be one of those guys most certainly who has played his last snap at LSU, along with guys like Jamar Chase and very likely Jacoby Stevens and maybe Terrace Marshall and others. So, but it sounds like Shelvin's doing the things he has to do, focusing to get his grades right to be able to play if and when LSU takes the field this fall. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.